Hello there, and welcome to GamePoints episode 126. This is our weekly little get-together. We talk about recent gaming news. I am, as always, your host, Stephen Brown, and joining me today is...
Oh, I'm David. I'm actually here today.
It's been kind of a busy past few weeks for you,
Yeah, that's for
without
sure.
getting into details. If you happen to be watching us here live at Twitch TV/GamePoints, do know that we do stream this show every Monday at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and please join the conversation. We are an audience interactive podcast, so feel free to type in whatever your feelings or anything you want to bring up in chat. If you can't watch us live, feel free to tune into our YouTube broadcast. You can just type in GamePoints one word. We pop right up there. Regardless of where you're watching at, like, comment, subscribe, and all that good stuff. David, we have
Yes,
a very busy week this week. It is not so
dude, we
much,
got a busy rest of the month. Let's be real.
yeah, it's not so much news heavy, but there is just a lot coming out this week. Big stuff.
Um, if you are nerdy at all, April is shaping up to be a doozy.
Yeah, let's get the non-gaming thing out of the way. We were just talking about how we have Avengers next week.
Yeah, that comes out on Friday. Thanks, Tony
So,
Stark.
in addition, we have like some bigger stuff coming out this week, which we'll get into later. But I mean, God of War, Labo. I kind of really want to get a hold of one of the Nintendo Labo kits and just play
I
around
want to
with
break one of the robot backpacks.
it. Use it twice and it snaps. I want to stress test one. I want to grab a hold of one and I want to play around with it. Now it's not enough for me to spend $70 for or $80 or however
Cardboard.
much
It's
it
real
is.
easy to break, but then you just get new cardboard.
Yeah,
That's
I'm
the beauty of it.
super curious to see how that works. So I'm kind of. It's one of those things I have no interest in myself, but I definitely want to see what other people think about it.
I'm interested. Again, I think we had the conversation that it's not for us.
No, and I'm
Like
fine with that, by the way. I never
it's
understood.
marketed as being as like a kid thing, and I get that it's mostly a kid thing, but adults still gonna play it. It looks neat, it looks interesting, and it's unique. It's very Nintendo.
Oh, yeah,
So
definitely
everyone's
unique.
just kind of waiting to see what happens.
I never understood the hate for it, though. There's a lot of people going, oh, this is fucking for kids. And I'm sitting there thinking, yeah,
Yeah,
they said it was for kids literally in the first sentence or so when they announced it.
like before they even announced it, it was a new Nintendo product for children.
Yeah. So I'm very curious to see how well that does. And of course, God of War getting rave reviews up and down the place. Lots of 10s, high 9s. I think it's sitting at a 94 on Metacritic right now.
That's great.
So looking forward to getting a hold of that. But that is later this week. Let's go ahead and start, and we'll get into new releases later in the show. Let's go ahead and start with some news there, David. The
Mm.
first topic I want to get into, I actually can't show you any video for because it's Disney related, and Disney is going to fucking Disney all over the place if I even show a clip of what we're going to be talking about. And that is the new Kingdom Hearts 3 minigame that was announced at the Kingdom Hearts Union Cross Dandelion meeting, which, I mean, even their goddamn conventions have stupid names.
Oh my god, let's just get this shit over with.
So,
Welcome to Square Presents Kingdom Hearts, a la The Hype Machine, a la we can't remind people enough about this franchise that they once loved that came out on PlayStation fucking 2 and is finally getting a sequel. So let's talk about some goddamn minigames.
yeah.
I'm not salty at all.
So I get that this is a minor fan gathering and everything like that. So it's not like we're going to get a release date or anything like that. But what they did show was what one of their mini games is going to be. Once again, Disney being Disney, I can't even show you what it looks like playing on there without them potentially trying to
Did
claim
you ever
the
play
video or
Smash
anything like
Brothers?
that.
Do you know who
No.
Mr. Game and Watch is?
But yes, that is what he is.
This is a Game and Watch game, but in the Kingdom Hearts 3 world where you play as the main character and you follow Mickey and Minnie and bullshits around and play Game and Watch games.
Yeah, remember those late 80s, early 90s handheld things from like Tiger Electronics?
Yeah, like LCD games.
Yeah, these things are horrible, by the way. I don't care too much for them. And Kingdom Hearts decided to make one of their mini games a version of this. Okay, cool tribute. Thematically, I like the idea. But the thing is, I remember playing those goddamn games way back when, and they all sucked. There is nothing about this that makes me nostalgic to play those Tiger games over again.
Yeah, I don't.
And
It's a really weird decision.
even watching the clip to it, for a split second, I went, oh, that's cool. And then I remember just how horrible those played. And these look like they play just like those did. So it does not speak to me other than the quick you get that quick flash of, oh, this is really good. And then disappointment immediately afterwards. It's like the fruit stripe gum of trailers.
Damn.
So yeah, this is yet more Kingdom Hearts news, which I don't think we really need any more of, like you touched on earlier. They have talked about this ad nauseum for years now. We still don't have a release date, for fuck's sake. It's supposed to be sometime this year, but honestly,
Nope.
I'll believe that when I see it.
This game is never coming out. This game will come out the day before Star Citizen comes out.
No, I don't think it's that bad. Like this, Nintendo will force this out.
I guess the difference is that this game will actually come out at some point,
as opposed to Star Citizen not doing that.
Yeah, because Disney's going to be like, "Hey, we need that money. Give us our money."
So a quick timeline of Kingdom Hearts releases. By the way, the first game came out in 2002. What, 16 years ago?
Yeah, long
then
enough that people that loved the original games are like not young.
Yeah. Then you had Chain of Memories in 2004 and Kingdom Hearts 2 in 2005. And that was the last entry in the main series here. It's been 13 years. Since then, they've had like Coded, 358 over 2 days, Birth by Sleep, Dream Drop Distance, X Unchained, and then you had all of your HD remasters. So 1.5 Remix, 2.5 Remix, 2.8 Final Chapter Prologue. It's been 13 years since a mainstream Kingdom Hearts. Are we... I know you don't care much for this series, but do you think that people in general are just kind of on it, or is there still a pretty rabid fan base for this game?
There's probably still a rabid fan base for it. The people that are like super flippin' excited about it. But it's just so convoluted. And the upsetting thing is that this is a game that's going to come out. And right before it comes out, anybody who gives even the minorest amount of shits about it is going to have to sit on YouTube for 2 hours to catch up on all the shit they forgot about because it happened almost 2 fucking decades ago.
Well, I would imagine that the people that actually really care, the people who are going to buy Kingdom Hearts 3, probably know this story. They got all the handheld games. They got all the PSP games and the
wait.
games.
But let's talk about trying to track this story, right? Because Kingdom Hearts came out first, right?
Oh, Kingdom Hearts never made sense.
And then you know, we had Chain of Memories, and we had Kingdom Hearts 2. But in the story, Kingdom Hearts is like the fourth one down from all the other shit, because if you want to go chronological, there's like the Kingdom Hearts X, and then the Kingdom Hearts X back cover, and then Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep, and then Kingdom Hearts, and then Chain of Memories, and then 358 and a half days, and then Kingdom Hearts 2, and then Destiny, and then 3D Dream Drop, and then, oh my god, it's just...
It bounces all over the place. I would have an extremely hard time believing that when Kingdom Hearts 3 comes out, they don't have like a little 30-minute, this is everything that has happened up to this point, primer. Right? That makes sense to have.
There has to be. There absolutely has to be.
But yeah, this is one of those franchises that I feel... I don't know if I feel excitement for it has actually waned at all. I don't know if it's grown. I think the same people who are excited for Kingdom Hearts 3 are the same people that played 1 and 2. I don't think there is room to expand the audience here because it's such a nut job story overall, and it's very obtuse for even people who have been playing the game since the first one to understand and wrap their head around. But then again, it's Disney.
Well, it'll sell because of Disney, and there's also the fact that the gameplay itself is decently fun.
Yeah.
So people will pick it up and play it.
I like the way that game plays. So, I suspect sometime during E3 you'll finally get a release date for it, as well as Frozen being announced as like the last world. The last world they're going to publicly announce.
Makes sense.
Because once that hits, once they go, hey, Frozen's going to be in here, then you actually really get the hype train going for it. Not that it hasn't been rolling for a long time, but I think the announcement of Frozen being a World of Kingdom Hearts 3, and keep in mind, this is just my prediction, but that will be what pushes it into overdrive.
Makes me even less likely to play it.
Does this game come out this year?
No.
I know they said it is.
No.
No? Yeah, I don't think so either. This game slips till... this game slips until late next year.
Yeah, I would say August at the optimistically earliest.
Yeah.
Probably September.
I agree. This is I just refuse to believe this game is coming out this year. There hasn't been enough people playing it behind closed doors yet, unless they're playing it really close to their chest. But with how many like press releases and little tidbits and leaking of information about this there has been, I just don't. Yeah, there's something wrong with the development of it. I can't place my finger on it, so don't ask me to explain what I feel is wrong with the development of it. But there is something off about this game still that hasn't quite been hammered out. It's something about the way the press cycle is working with it, the way the PR machine is working with it.
It feels weird for a Square game.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like this is a game that comes out this year.
But maybe we're totally wrong. Maybe it'll just drop on us all of a sudden. Maybe they'll have like, oh, here's our E3 trailer, and boom, it's coming out next month.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't necessarily want this to get delayed. I am done.
I mean, the ideal world would be like, oh, here's the E3 trailer. By the way, it's on sale immediately after E3.
Oh, no way in hell that's happening.
I'm saying that would be like in a magical ideal world.
So here's one of the weird things. You know what actually would be a good release date for Kingdom Hearts 3 here? I think, and I need to verify what the date for this is. October.
Is that like the 17th anniversary of the first one?
No, it's the month Red Dead Redemption 2 comes
out.
Because
the only thing that could potentially throw down with it?
Two completely different audiences, and they're both massive games.
Yeah.
Everything else is going to get pushed aside for Red Dead Redemption 2. And Kingdom Hearts 2 would fit perfectly in there because it doesn't have to compete against anything else other than Red Dead Redemption 2. And you're talking about two completely, radically different audiences. I think both these games could launch on the same day and they would both be just fine.
Yeah, I actually could see that.
Is that going to happen?
People that would buy both.
Yeah, is that going to happen? I don't think so. If they are going to announce a date for this year, my prediction is that Kingdom Hearts 2 would be October 9th.
Still 3, though. You said 2 like 6 times.
Yeah, 3. I keep meaning 3. Sorry.
It's fine. I forgive you.
I think you all know what I mean. But
yeah.
Just this new minigame, though. I looked at it and I kind of went, oh, crap. Like, for a split second, I was excited for it. And then I realized if they're going to force me to play that goddamn thing to unlock, like, weapons or items that I need.
Oh, God. They're going to make it grindy. You gotta sit there for an hour playing a horrible, horrible game that, as a kid, you would have thrown away after 6 minutes.
And hey, you know what? We did only see a quick trailer for it. It could play really well. I just don't believe that it does because none of those games did. It's bad.
Maybe it just starts as one of those games and then immediately breaks it and gets fun. Who knows?
Who knows? Anyways,
we're just going off this trailer that's really lackluster and not exciting.
Anyways, that was kind of a longer than intended rant about Kingdom Hearts 3. I wanted to get a lot off my chest about my frustration with that franchise as a whole.
Oh, I think I do that every time you bring it up, so it's fine.
All right, so let's go ahead and move on to the next story. Why don't you lead us off here, David?
Hey, did you have a PS3 FAT, the original one?
I absolutely did.
The 60 gig with 4 USB ports?
Yep.
So after, 3-4 years, yours started overheating, right?
No, mine didn't, but I understand that I am in the minority.
You never got the yellow light of death? Speaking. You must have played that not as much.
No, I played it a lot. I just, for some reason, mine never died.
Well, if you remember back in the day when that was
like
happening,
a jet engine.
Yeah, the fix to it was crack the damn thing open, get to the GPU, and then heat gun the thing so that you could put new thermal paste on it and put it back because everything in there was really cheap and crappy, and that's why it would overheat to the point that the thermal paste would come off the GPU and the GPU would actually become unattached from the system, so it wouldn't render graphics anymore, which is ridiculous. But one of the things you had to do to get in there was rip off this little sticker that Sony put on. And it's this gray thing that said void on it a bunch of times. And if you rip the sticker or cut the sticker off, it would leave these little like void icons on the side of your console.
Yeah,
and the whole
was like
point of it
to where if you ripped it up, somehow it would spell void underneath it. It was
it
like
would like leave
extra
residue.
sticky resin there.
Yeah. I mean, or you can cut it in half, but that's pretty obviously tampered. And in Sony's original like agreement, or I don't know what you call that, but like the licensing arrangement, something.
Like the EULA, the end user
Yeah,
license
yeah,
agreement.
exactly. If you broke that sticker, you then voided the console's warranty and could no longer send it back to Sony for any repairs or anything. They wouldn't touch it. And in an article from Ars Technica, a recent statement from the FTC says that the warranty voiding language that Sony used and Nintendo and various other companies use is illegal. In a quote, it's common for manufacturers of cars, video game consoles, and other products to insist that consumers will void their warranty if they used unauthorized repair services or unauthorized third-party parts. Some even insist that you'll void the warranty if you break the warranty seal, like I was mentioning. But according to the FCC, these policies are illegal. On Tuesday, the agency announced that it has sent warning letters to 6 companies for violating a 1975 law governing manufacturer warranties, which is kind of absurd that there's a long-standing law that's 40 years old stating that companies cannot do this one specific thing that they've been doing for at least 20 years,
30 years, 40 years almost.
I mean, I can't, my knowledge of electronics doesn't go back 40 years, so I don't know of
here's the kicker.
Warranty voiding stickers that used to be on VCRs. I don't remember those.
So this does not necessarily apply to only consumer electronics. In fact, the FTC ruling does not call out anyone by name. We'll take a look at it here. Let me see if I can bring it up.
Mm-hmm.
6 letters were sent to companies. Each company used different language, but here are examples the question provides. And they give the use of blank parts is required to keep your ... manufacturer warranty is extended by any tax. So they give you examples of what they sent it out. Now, where we're getting Sony and Nintendo from is if you were to Google these sentences, they mirror
come up
almost exactly what Hyundai does, which is a car company. The use of Hyundai genuine parts is required to keep your Hyundai manufacturer warranties and extend warranties intact, as well as Nintendo and Sony, who have very similar language to it. So the FTC never actually comes out and says Hyundai, Nintendo, or Sony here, but we can read the writing on the wall.
Yep.
I mean, the language they're saying is like, this is what we were calling out specifically, and if you type that into Google, this is what you get, and it just fills in the blanks for you. So, yeah, it looks like that they have been violating a law that is 40-some-odd years old now at this point.
Yeah, 43. Which is kind of ridiculous because there's also been a fight recently of like state legislatures that are popping up, giving like the right to repair.
Yeah, a lot of those
and originally I think this started with like class action lawsuits against Apple and the fact that like you can't open your phone or replace the battery or do anything to it, and like it's the argument against planned obsolescence where companies say, oh no, it's not engineered to fail, it's definitely not built to break, and they're all fucking for sure built to break.
Yeah, and we make it to where there's no way to get into it without actually damaging the product, and you have to take it back to the exact same place you bought it from.
And then we had the whole article about Apple putting actual restrictors on your phone if your phone's older, and it won't let your battery go as low or whatever the hell that was because
it kills your battery life. Yeah, I don't remember the exact details were, but I remember that too.
Some kind of nonsense. Yeah, and a lot of people want to be able to fix their own shit. Being a nerd is very popular and profitable these days, and there's plenty of smart people that can fix their own products.
This is something that stretches to cars too. I mean, they did mention Hyundai. How many times have you ever bought a car from a dealership and they're like, "Hey, you gotta, if you want to change the spark plugs, you gotta bring it back here."
Have you ever had a German car? You ever been in a Volkswagen or a BMW?
Yeah, that shit's dumb. Well, there's a difference between having proprietary parts.
Mm-hmm. No, I mean that's the extreme case scenario in that you have to use their parts because literally nothing works. But there's plenty of cars where you can use similar parts or off-brand parts and put them together.
So I don't like proprietary parts, but I have no problem if a company wants to use proprietary parts. Sony does it all the time, for example. What I have a problem with is when something like Sony says, "Oh, the second you crack this open, you know, this product that you bought, it voids a warranty, especially if it was against the law." By the way, hello, Flykin, how you doing? So I'm kind of glad I didn't know this was law in the books, to be quite honest with you. I always just kind of accepted it being as it is. And I hope that we start seeing a change in this stuff soon, though more than likely what's going to happen is that they will find some way to reword it.
Yeah, they're just gonna say it some like Sony's gonna switch it up and they're just gonna build their PlayStation in a different way that doesn't let you open it without like breaking something.
Yeah, without like cracking open the shell, which then would void the warranty because you've done physical damage to it.
Yeah.
That's just how they're going to respond to this. Anyways, that's enough of that. Let us know what you think about this FTC ruling against Sony and Nintendo. Well, it's not really ruling against them. They're just saying...
They literally just said, hey, by the way, this is a thing. And that's it.
So we'll see if anything comes from it. Because remember, it might be a law, but unless they choose to enforce the law...
Doesn't matter.
No one cares. Yeah. That's one of my favorite things is when someone screams out, well, it's illegal. They can't do that. And I just look at them and go, well, they did. What you going to do about it? By the way, Flykin, we're not done. We just now started the news. We'll probably be here for another 40 minutes or so. So feel free to listen, join in the chat, bring up any topics you want to. I'll try to get to you when we can. But we are going to go ahead and move on to the next topic. And that is, it's a bit of a weird one. But we're going to talk about Billy Mitchell.
Aw, Billy Mitchell. That's that guy that's got that high score on Donkey Kong and Pac-Man.
If you don't know who Billy Mitchell is, he is
that thing I said.
probably one of the first e-celebs when it comes to video games, right? Like when it comes to gaming celebs. He's
got a Wikipedia page.
Yeah, he held the perfect score in Pac-Man. He had the best score in Donkey Kong for the longest time. In fact, they did a little documentary on it called Fistful of Quarters, which is really cool. I recommend taking a look at it.
King Kong.
Well, it turns out it's a problem. Can't turn up my sound on there, but I'm having problems hearing you. I can probably fix that. I don't know which one you're referring to, so I'll just adjust audio there and see if that doesn't help. There's one more thing. Sorry, doing this on the fly. By the way, Flykin, if you tell me who you're having a hard time hearing, and I'll see if I can't fix it. I'm going to move on with the story in the meantime. In this little article from Variety here, Billy Mitchell's been a bad, bad boy and apparently has been caught cheating. As such, via Variety, Guinness World Records has disqualified Billy Mitchell's perfect Pac-Man run and all of his other achievements as well. This follows on the heels of Twin Galaxies doing the same thing to him. And that's bad. That's not good. It seems that he was caught playing a Donkey Kong run. Let me actually just read you the article right here. Billy Mitchell's perfect Pac-Man run and highest score, as well as his Donkey Kong score, made famous of a documentary, King of Kong, A Fistful of Quarters, will no longer be recognized by Guinness World Records, the organization told Variety on Friday. The decision to move all of his world records is driven by the news yesterday that Twin Galaxies, which is Guinness's official source for verification of these achievements, was stripping all of his high scores and banning him from future attempts after it was discovered that he was not playing on a regulation arcade version of Donkey Kong to set his records. They essentially did a, who's the baseball guy? That was Pete Rose?
There's a lot of baseball guys.
Yeah, they Pete Rosed his ass.
The big thing is for the records to actually count, they have to be on an original arcade cabinet.
Yeah.
And they looked through it and figured something out, and based on the evidence, because you have to have like a videotape, but looking at the actual video of the game he was playing, it doesn't look or behave correctly to the actual cabinet, because there was something about like a level loading too fast, or there's a couple other things that they mentioned in here. So it looks like more than likely he was using like the MAME emulator.
Yeah, they had a lot of experts essentially come and say there's no way that this jump could be possible on the basic arcade cabinet, for example. And it looks like he was using an emulator. I think they said like 81 points of contention in another article that I was reading earlier. So yeah, he got caught doing something he shouldn't have been doing.
Poor guy. Of course, he did respond later. In an article, did he respond to IGN directly, or
no? It's just via IGN, but he was speaking at the Midwest Gaming Classic in Milwaukee. There's a YouTube video you can take a look at if you want.
Oh, that's right. He told Old School Gamer magazine that he will show he followed the rules to achieve his records. He promises everything will be transparent and provide witnesses and documents to defend his Donkey Kong high scores and perfect Pac-Man run. This is kind of a big deal for him because this got him internet stardom. Like, it kind of made him famous. He was the guy that was literally the king of Kong and had the first, perfect Pac-Man run. So if all of this is taken away, then I mean, it's humiliating, right? It's like losing a title. It's getting Lance
We'll
Armstrong.
see. Apparently, when I was doing my cursory research for this story, a lot of people just hate this guy to begin with.
I think they mentioned that he's kind of rude, right?
Yeah, this is all anecdotal, right? But apparently, the hot rumor is that he is kind of a dick, that he seems very arrogant. Allegedly, right? I've never met the guy. I can't speak to it, but he has a lot of people just pissed off at him for the way he's acted in the past. Now, how can I can't like verify any of that, but that is just how he is. By the way, thank you, Flyken. I appreciate the comment, the compliment there. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how this shakes out. It seems like Twin Galaxies is pretty goddamn adamant in saying, "Hey, you screwed up, so you're just done." I don't think. My gut tells me that once everyone starts looking at all of his evidence he's going to present, it's probably going to fall apart under scrutiny. But that's just my gut. I can't make a 100% confirmation one way or another. And honestly, I just don't know enough about how emulation works and how they can detect that shit to be like, yes, this is clearly what he was doing, or no, he's innocent of his charges. I just have to kind of go with what both sides are presenting to me. And Twin Galaxies, if you look at their evidence to say he cheated, it's pretty goddamn substantial.
Yeah, it's rough. As it stands right now, his records have been completely pulled, and Guinness obviously pulled their records as well because they're based on Twin Galaxies.
Yeah, that's not really a surprise, right? If Twin Galaxies pulls it and Guinness bases their stuff on Twin Galaxies, of course they're going to pull it too.
I think he lost basically his top 3 highest scores. Now, technically, he does still have a high score for Donkey Kong, but he only has one publicly witnessed high score from Donkey Kong, and that's from 2004, and it's like 933,000 points. And the world record now is like 1,000,002. So he's not quite at the level that at least anyone can verify right now.
Independently verify.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is one of those stories I find exceedingly fascinating. I just don't know enough tech about to really comment.
Well, old school arcade game high score chasers is always kind of an interesting thing. Well, I mean, maybe not to everybody. Maybe that's just us.
Hey,
but
I love
I've always
awesome
thought
games.
It was cool because you have all these guys that were playing arcade games in the 80s and grew up just hammering after those same games to be the very best. And it's just it's fascinating how much time they will dedicate to these games that people don't even really look at anymore.
Well, yeah, there's something, I can't place my finger on it, right? But there's something that combines both nostalgia and a sense of how the hell can they do that?
Mm-hmm.
Especially when we watch like some unassisted high-end speedruns or score attacks or insert whatever here. And especially when you go way back into the old arcade games, because like, for example, Pac-Man, that stuff's all set to a pattern.
Well, and like Pac-Man eventually starts breaking.
Yeah, I think once you hit 255, I think you start getting past the hexadecimal code and it starts just falling apart.
Yeah, the game actually breaks because the programming can't keep up anymore. But the other thing is with high score chasers, it's different to me than speedruns because speedruns have breaks and cheats and all kinds of stuff. I mean, there's pure speedruns, obviously. But the crazy quick ones always have like glitches and stuff that they implement. But high score runs aren't always fast. Some of these old arcade games, you literally have to sit and grind through to get these scores. So you have these guys that are playing games for like a day.
Okay, I have to look this up real quick. This is a bit of a sidetrack, but I want to know how long it takes to play a perfect game of Pac-Man. How long does it take to play a perfect game of Pac-Man? Because some of this stuff, like 29 hours, I think was one thing that I read one time.
Mm-hmm. 6 hours? 5 hours?
That's a long time to be standing in front of a goddamn cabinet. Apparently, David Race completed perfect game of Pac-Man in 3 hours, 33 minutes, and 1.4 seconds. That's still like 3 hours in front of 3.5 hours in front of a goddamn arcade cabinet.
Yeah, I mean, your hand would be a claw.
Right? Yeah. It's rough. No problem, Franklin Man. You know what? Just join in the chat if you have any questions, and we'll get to them that way. Not everyone needs a microphone or a video camera to join the show.
If you see something cool you want to talk about, we don't bring up, then definitely throw it at us.
Anyways, with that, let's go ahead and get on to the next topic here. Why we're doing a hard shift, and let's talk about the fact that apparently Shenmue 1 and 2 are getting re-released.
They're coming back. Oh man, everyone's gonna get so excited to go look for some sailors, because despite what you remember, that first game is not the best.
Announced at a SEGA festival recently, and this is from SEGA Europe's Twitter account. You've asked and we listened. We're extremely excited to finally announce that Shenmue 1 and 2 are coming to... Sorry. I had the audio playing on there, so bad host,
nice.
Sorry. Excited to finally announce that Shenmue 1 and 2 are coming to PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and PC in one package. Both games will feature Japanese and English voiceovers and choice of classic or modern controls and more. Hashtag Shenmue saved.
This had to happen. They announced Shenmue 3. We're not getting that game anytime soon. Like, maybe next year. Who knows? But as it is, we're talking about some old Dreamcast games. And I think, was it Shenmue 2 was on Xbox?
Yeah, Shenmue 2, I believe, was released only in Japan and Europe, but eventually made its way to America on the Xbox, the original old-school Xbox.
Yeah. So these are some pretty damn old games, because Shenmue 1 is probably 1999 or 2000 when it came out.
I believe it was 99.
And they had a lot of things that are really interesting, and I think they definitely helped to influence where some games went. You can find inspirations from Shenmue just in the way it kind of had a not really open world, but more exploration-based gameplay that had some combat, some puzzly things, and a lot of just talking to people and working your way through things. That kind of gives rise to like the Grand Theft Auto formula, right? I mean, add cars in much bigger cities, but not a whole lot of games had you walking around and having voice-acted quests given to you.
It was, when it first came out, the most expensive video game ever created.
Yeah.
Because it did so many things that was never seen in games before. All of that said...
It was like the killer app for Dreamcast.
Yeah. All of that said, Shenmue 1 and 2 are not nearly as good as everyone thinks they are.
Well, now, looking at it 18 years later.
No, even when they first came out, I remember playing them and going, there's a lot of problems with this game. They were very revolutionary. They did a lot of really cool shit. But so did Metal Gear Solid.
That's true. That's a damn good game.
Shenmue has a lot of problems, and a lot of people look back at this game with extremely rose-colored glasses because they have such an investment in it. Am I saying it's a bad game? No, it's not a bad game, but it is not nearly the big masterpiece a lot of people claim it is. In my opinion, of course, their opinion is going to vary differently. One thing to keep in mind is that while these are going to boast some improvements, these are not full-on HD remakes or even remasters. They're just being put out on modern consoles with updated controls. Now, I like the fact that you can go back to the original controls. That's kind of cool. I always like that in my re-releases. But don't expect them to be HD or remastered or up quality sound. It's not that. These are just re-releasing it. And from what I understand, you're going to need to know what the plot to this game is to get the third one when that eventually finally comes out. Flykin, we...
Usually Discord. Sometimes we experiment.
Yeah.
Which is why we get audio issues.
Yeah, I can't get into details about where we use the chat, unfortunately. There are people who are assholes online, and they screw with you. Sorry, man. Anyways, what's your hype level for Shenmue, by the way? Were you ever a fan of it?
I like Shenmue, but I was, a bit younger than you when I played it. So for me, it was revolutionary. I was like, holy crap, I've never played a game like this. This is unique and interesting, and it was just a totally new experience for me. So, of course, I always wanted more combat in it.
Yeah, it just seemed... I remember playing the first Shenmue and spending 30 minutes just moving boxes around.
It's funny to me because at this point, I think that the Yakuza games kind of fill the hole that was left when Shenmue stopped happening.
Yeah, and the Yakuza games are really fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very, they have a lot of problems,
Like,
but
for
they are
me,
fun.
the ideal version of Shenmue 3 is just like a more story-based Shenmue Yakuza game.
With like the occasional zombie and weird ass moments. I mean, that the Yakuza series is very Japanese.
Yeah. Um,
Anyways, let's go ahead and move on to the next topic now, as I think we've beaten the Shenmue conversation to
oh,
death.
dude, let's talk about this thing that no one asked for. So, did you remember when the Nintendo Classic came out and it was
Yeah.
announced and there was a fever pitch and those things were impossible to buy?
Oh yeah.
And then just a year later, we had the Super Nintendo Classic and everybody loved that damn thing and it sold gangbusters. And then
really
they
good.
actually started bringing it back. So, people, like, you can buy that thing on Amazon, like, right now. It's insane. You know what we absolutely need? It's definitely not an N64 classic.
No.
It's a Sega Mega Drive Mini. Sega, why?
In this article via IGN, Sega has unveiled its new Mega Drive Mini console, which will be released in Japan later this year. The console was announced in Japan during the company's annual Sega FES event. A photo of the console being held, as well as a close-up of the device, were posted to its official Japanese Sega Twitter account. This is a closer look at the console there itself. So, a couple things to take away from this. One, we have no idea what games are coming for it, at all. They just announced it. Two, we don't know what its price is, or even if it's going to be coming to the US. This could just be a Japan-only thing, and my gut tells me it probably is going to be a Japan-only thing, because if you wanted a Sega retro console like this, there are a ton of those old flashback consoles. Sega and Atari both have them that have like 20 Sega games on there. In fact, I think the newest one has like Golden Axe and Columns, all the Sonics on there. This is not something that we really need from Sega because they've been doing it every other year already.
The Mega Drive is going to cost $50. It's going to come with Sonic. It's going to come with Gunstar Heroes, Phantasy Star 4, Altered Beast.
Where are you reading this from?
I'm just spitballing.
Okay. So this is just a hypothetical.
Golden Axe.
It better not cost $50. Good goddamn lord.
Maybe. Well, I mean, it should cost $20 or $10 or be free with the purchase of a fucking large combo from McDonald's. But let's be real. Earthworm Jim, right? I think that just got remastered though, so I don't know if they would. No, they might still put it on there. How about?
Well, remember you have all the licensing rights to get through it too. That's why the NES Mini, the NES Classic and the Super Nintendo Classic were so amazing because they worked out the rights holders' issues. They had games that Nintendo don't own on there. So Sega would have to do the exact same thing, and Sega's library and demand and nostalgia factor are nowhere near as high as Nintendo's is.
Yeah, when's the last time Sega released a game that everyone was like, "Oh my god, it's amazing"?
I'm actually trying to think now. Because Sega just mainly publishes shit right now.
Yeah, I mean, there was the only thing I can think out that was even markedly successful was that newer Sonic game where they actually bothered to make it 2D again, where they did like the Mega Man 9 thing but with Sonic.
Oh, Sonic 4?
Yeah, whatever. I don't know what it was.
I'm trying to see what they released recently. I know they publish a bunch of stuff too. And I'm trying to think of just pure Sonic Sega developed games, and nothing is coming to mind.
Did they make Crazy Taxi?
Yeah. Which would not be in a new remake of Crazy Taxi, by the way, because they would have lost the rights to it.
The Android version of Crazy Taxi has the original music. Offspring, Pennywise, it's in the game.
Really? They did update it later to take that stuff out? Because that's what's happening with the Grand Theft Auto games.
This is the actual like iOS and Android version of Crazy Taxi has the original licensed music in it.
Well, all right.
I recently played it while at an Offspring show to fulfill a childhood dream.
Fair enough. Anyways, a Sega Mini, because Sega does what Nintendo did already.
Oh man,
is coming out in Japan. I don't know if it's actually going to happen here. I kind of hope not. I don't need this. We don't need this. None of us needs this. Next topic, David, as we have no real transitions this show at all.
Oh, man, this is all you. I don't need to talk about it. I don't
Fair
give
enough.
a shit.
In a tweet sent up by Gamatsu, it sounds like Bandai Namco might be bringing back the Xenosaga franchise. Bandai Namco has trademarked Also Sprach Zarathustra in the United States, which is a tone poem by Richard Strauss as per Wikipedia. So, a couple things to take away from this. One, I don't think the person running the Gamatsu fan account knows what the hell Also Sprach Zarathustra is, because it's the title to the third Xenosaga game, all of which had subtitles based on Friedrich Nietzsche. The first one was De Will zu Macht, the second one was Jenseits von Gut und Böse, and then this was Also Sprach Zarathustra. But in the tweet here, they talk about a Richard Strauss poem, which, yeah, it is, but it's also, more importantly, books by Friedrich Nietzsche, which is what all the Xenosagas are named. This, of course, has caused everyone to start freaking out, thinking that, oh my god, there's going to be a Xenosaga 1 through 3 remastered. They're going to bring them over to Switch. Who knows what's going on? All rumor and speculation right now. We have no idea what the hell's going on.
Man, I can't wait to watch hours and hours of cutscene on my Switch to get 20 minutes of gameplay.
Listen, you son of a bitch. I loved Xenosaga 1. Xenosaga 2, not so much.
Let's be real here.
Man,
I did play Metal Gear Solid 4.
Your favorite goddamn franchise is Metal Gear Solid.
So, take my complaints with a full packet of salt. Not even a grain.
So, yeah, of course, everyone now has this, the speculation has begun. And honestly, if you ask me, I get the feeling this is going to be a remaster of the first 3 Xenosagas for Nintendo Switch. Bandai Namco has gone hard on the Switch. The guys who made these games, Monolith Soft, have had extreme success with Xenoblade Chronicles 2, which have come out on the Switch. Is it Xenoblade Chronicles? I forget its name now. But anyways, the most recent Xenoblade game has sold very well on the Switch. It makes sense for them to do this. Will I buy it? Probably. I mean, I own the originals already, and I really don't feel like I need to go through and play this game again.
But you want them.
Well, yeah, I kind of do.
Yeah, you just want them.
Here's the thing, though. Remember how we were talking about how Kingdom Hearts had a fucked up story?
Yeah.
Xenosaga makes Kingdom Hearts look like it was an ABC special. An ABC after-school special.
Think of the subtitles. Of course.
It's beyond that, though. Because when a lot of that has to do with its weird development, too. Because when Xenosaga was originally envisioned, it was supposed to be 6 games long. Notice that they only made 3 of them. Mm-hmm. And what happened was, when the third one came out, they're like, okay, this is the last one we're making, so we have to wrap up everything in one game. And it just got really weird. In fact, I don't remember much about the plot to it at all. I remember that there was a doctor named Shion, she made a robot named Cosmos, and they fought these weird space creatures. And that's kind of the extent of my remembrance of that series.
That's what it is.
So, yeah, it's... I don't know if I want them again, but I kind of want to play through them again.
You're going to buy it.
Probably.
You're a dead sell for this. This is easy.
Probably. All right, let's go ahead and wrap things up with the last story of the night, and then we'll move on to other topics.
Cool. One more for us from IGN, but it turns out Steam might be getting State of Decay 2. Undead Labs Zombie Apocalypse Survival Simulator follow-up, State of Decay 2, is headed to Xbox One and Microsoft Windows on May 22nd, but the list of supported distribution services could one day include Steam, due to an error message that appeared during a developer live stream of the game's PAX East demo build, which has since been removed from their Twitch archive.
Let me see if I can bring this closer up here so people can take a look at it.
It does look like Steam is a place where you can play State of Decay 2, which is rad because this is the zombie survival game that has the 4-player co-op. It looks pretty fun. State of Decay is an interesting game that came out in a weird time, and there's some people that really, really liked it, and there's a bunch of people that played it for a minute and they completely forgot it existed, like this guy over here.
Absolutely.
And there's a new one, and everybody likes playing new stuff more than they like playing old stuff. So let's get all up on that State of Decay 2 train. I guess.
I'm
Maybe.
trying to blow this picture up so people online can
if
see
it's
it.
on Steam. If it ends up only being on the Windows Store and only being on Xbox, I'm not going to touch this game even a little bit.
Yeah, and that's my stance on it too. I am not going to go digging through the horrible Microsoft Store just to find this game on here. It's what's keeping me from playing like the Age of Empires HD on
The Windows Store as a thing prevented me from buying Forza, which actually turned out for the better because then it had loot boxes, and I was real mad about it anyway.
Apparently, that Forza loot box thing might not have been as it originally was perceived as, but it's an old game. We don't need to go back and revisit it.
Man, I got mad enough that I just didn't look at it again. So maybe work on publicity. If your loot boxes aren't some kind of stupid bullshit, get out ahead of it.
So I blew up that picture here. As you can see, that it says login failed, unable to connect with Steam. Make sure Steam is running. You're logged in. So this guy who works for Undead Labs, who's doing an alpha build of the game or a beta build or whatever, probably beta this close to launch, is clearly playing this game on Steam.
Cool.
No official announcement whether they're on Steam or not, but you want your game to sell, put it on goddamn Steam.
Yep.
Anyways, David, I think that wraps things up for news this week. And as cool as State of Decay 2 might seem, it doesn't come out until late next month. But I'm bored right now, David.
Oh, you're not going to be anytime soon. Let's just jump right in. Let's get to the new releases. Let's talk about the shit that's coming to your face holes this week. I'm going to start it off with Yakuza 6, the next follow-up in this kind of bomb Yakuza franchise that's been running rampant for a while.
Yakuza is way underrated and extremely silly.
Yeah, and real damn fun.
Yeah.
And now we have number 6. Kazuma returns. Still the same character. He's the main and only playable character in the game. And I think he wakes up in a hospital because he was injured in the end of the 5th one.
And I haven't played a Yakuza game since the second one for more than 5
It's an action-adventure game set in an open-world environment, played from a third-person perspective, but you go through different areas of Japan, at least in the other games, that are like kind of faithfully done. And I will always, always, always bring it back to the musical scene, I think in Yakuza 5, where they animated the musicians to like the most attentive degree of any video game-based musician playing thing I've ever seen in my life. It's kind of ridiculous.
I did not like. I know so little about the Yakuza series.
I will find the clip and send it to you later because it's kind of ridiculous.
Yeah, I do want to get into this game again though, because I remember having a really fun time with it way back when. And from what I understand, you really don't need to have played any of the previous ones. I'm sure there are callbacks to other ones, but I'm pretty sure they're all standalone because they're so insane.
Yeah, they're fun.
What else we got coming
out? We also have Paper Valley coming out for Oculus Rift. This is Paper Airplane, the game.
Of course, because it's a fucking VR game. Man,
it's a VR game. As far as I can tell, it looks like you throw paper airplanes into targets, but it's more flower-looking in art style, if you remember Flower.
I want VR to be better than this.
I do also want VR to be better than this, but this is what
annoyed.
you get. So get wrecked. For the King, full release hits PC this week. It's a strategic RPG that blends tabletop and roguelike elements, and it spans realms. So you set on a single-player experience, and you can play co-op with online and local co-op play. It actually looks decent. I don't know. It's like a smaller game, but I don't know. I like
roguelike. Some of the smaller games are good. I
like co-op, and so I'll hunt down co-op wherever I can find it. Also coming out this week, we have Ys 8, Lacrimosa, or Lacrimosa? Is that how you say it? Lacrimosa of Dana.
Lacrimosa.
It's just the PC port of Ys 8, and from what
torn up.
Yeah, from what I've seen on the reviews, it is a piss poor, lazy PS4 port through and through. Bare bone graphical options, fixed internal resolution, so like you can't change it. Gamepad issues, bad keyboard and mouse control. The most close comparison I've seen is that it's a Dark Souls 1 tier PC port.
Damn.
Which is fucking damning, because that port was horrendous.
Whenever your port is so bad you have to rely on the fans to make it somewhat playable, you know you fucked up.
And that's the weirdest thing is Dark Souls 1 is a fantastic game, and I did play that on PC, but I did not play it at launch. I played that game like a year and a half or 2 years later, and I modded the shit out of it before I even left Undeadburg.
That's what's killing me about the recent Chrono Trigger port that came out to PC. Square stealth released Chrono Trigger on Steam.
And it's the goddamn mobile version.
Yes.
Stop doing that, you pieces of shit.
Also, stay tuned later tonight. I will be streaming some of that.
Only because they added that patch where you can put it in the Super Nintendo graphics again?
No, it's not that in depth.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's still kind of... So here's the thing. That port is... The game is still playable. It's still Chrono Trigger. It's still a fun game. But the fact that it's such a classic makes it, like, more atrocious.
Mm-hmm. Oh, dude, I'm still salty about the Final Fantasy VI port. We don't need to get really deep into this.
It's not that bad. At least it's not as bad as that. You don't have that weird where they replaced all the characters with like the Vaseline smudges, and you can tell tiles don't line up. It's not.
And then they used the MIDI music from the original PC release, so that the actual sound files are shitty and sound bad.
Yeah.
Whatever.
It's not a great port, but it's not like. It's bad, but it's not as bad as it could be. I think that it gets slammed a lot harder because it is such a revered game.
Yeah. When you take something beloved and shit on it, you get in trouble.
Yeah.
But sometimes you can take something that was moderately beloved and make it way the fuck better, which is what it sounds like happened to God of War, which
I am
is
so
this week
goddamn excited
on
for this
Friday for PS4. Yeah, I'm hyped. I didn't give a shit about the last like 3 God of War games.
9 p.m. our time Thursday, by the way. That has been confirmed. Preload starts tomorrow.
That is happening. I am absolutely going to play the shit out of God of War. This game looks really fun. I remember watching like that 2-hour gameplay video that came out a couple weeks ago, and I'm 100% on board for this new Norse mythology Kratos and
he
Sun
essentially
and
has
Toe.
Mjolnir as an axe. You can throw it and then have it come back to it. I'm so excited for this game.
It looks like a
fun.
proper like adventure action game. It still looks brutal and God of War-y, but not. Fuck the Blades of Chaos. All right, fuck them.
They were cool when they came out, but I'm kind of done with it.
Fuck QuickTime events. Fuck them.
Apparently, there are, from what I understand, there are no QuickTime events in this, or if they are, they're not as relevant. I hadn't seen anyone really mention them. I figured that if they were all over the place, it would have gotten mentioned in reviews.
Also, I remember reading an article about I think it's the head developer, I can't think of his name right now.
Cory Barlog.
Who fought for the over-the-shoulder camera perspective, and I said that the game had to stay there. Absolutely would refuse to budge on having like cinematic cutscenes that took you away from the character, and fought step by step through the entire development process to keep the camera there the whole game.
I'm good with that. I get shades of Tomb Raider.
And people fought him on it until they finally saw the finished product and went, holy shit, that was a genius idea.
Yeah, I'm getting shades of that Tomb Raider reboot from here, and I love that Tomb Raider reboot.
Those games are great, so I'm all aboard this new God of War. But if God of War is maybe not your speed or a little too graphic, or you got some kids in the house, then you have a great alternative this week because Nintendo Labo finally comes out. Everybody get ready to play with some damn cardboard.
I know we were talking about this earlier in the show, but I don't want to buy it because I'm not going to spend more than 5 minutes with it. But I want to just get a hold of it and fuck around with it.
Yeah, you and I have no reason to buy this. We don't.
No.
But it could be the most fun thing that you've ever seen in your life.
Yeah, I want to fuck with it. I just want to. I want to take a look at it. I want to assemble it, and I want to play it with like 2 minutes and go, okay, cool. I know how this plays. I don't need it anymore.
But there's also a whole bunch of games you can play as a robot.
They're not games that I'm interested in. I just want to see it in action.
I think more than anything, I can't wait to see what happens with like that creation kit.
Yes.
Because there's like that rudimentary programming you can do with it, and that is going to lead to some badass stuff because it always does. Anytime you give like players or just people in general a bunch of freedom with your game, look at what happened to like the Mario Maker levels and what phenomenon that turned out to be.
Yeah, and Nintendo's been doing stuff like this for years. Remember Mario Paint?
Yeah.
Similar idea.
Think of the legs that Little Big Planet had.
Yeah.
In a game that, I mean, to be fair, was like a funny, kind of silly co-op platformer, but didn't have a whole lot of meat. And then years later, there's people that made like the intro to Final Fantasy VII in it.
Yes. It's I just want to see where this goes, and I want to physically get some hands-on time with it, knowing that it is not for me. And I can accept that. I can be totally fine with Nintendo releasing something for, like, younger kids. Awesome. Yeah. Good on you.
Because
I am
for the
not upset about
longest
that at all.
time, we've accused Nintendo of being a kid-friendly or kid-focused company. And we'll look at all these awesome games that we're getting on Switch that aren't for kids. Hey, guess what? Nintendo's still Nintendo. They have every right to do this, and they're probably going to knock it out of the damn park.
Yeah, I just want to see it. Or rather, I want to play with it. But I don't want to spend any money on it. So, I think that wraps things up for this week as far as new releases goes, and for the show
I will
in general.
throw one little tidbit.
Okay.
That I think is actually kind of funny related to Labo. They pegged a Japanese company called Rengo to be their main cardboard supplier.
Okay.
And to literally no one's surprise, that company's shares have climbed through the goddamn roof.
A cardboard company.
They're a packaging company.
And their shares have just, like, jumped up dramatically. I wish I saw that article.
Yeah, because Nintendo is using their cardboard.
Hilarious. Well, you know, if they're using their cardboard, that means their cardboard's going to be compatible with all their shit. So if you need more cardboard, just order it from that company.
Mm-hmm.
Damn, man, Nintendo just touches it. Yeah.
Nintendo touches anything and money happens.
They're such a dramatic company when it comes to their hits and misses.
Mm-hmm.
Because, I mean, Wii, amazing, sold well. I didn't care much for it, but you can't deny that thing didn't sell like gangbusters. And the Wii U comes out, and it's like a fart.
Oh man,
in the
you
wind.
can't find someone who didn't play Wii Boxing or Wii Tennis.
Yeah. Super Nintendo, Nintendo amazing, Nintendo 64 not so much. They have this weird...
I'm with you, and I know a lot of people that get really mad at me when I talk about that.
Yeah, they have these weird highs and lows, and they're on a... They're the good old Nintendo again, man. It feels good to have Nintendo back.
Mm-hmm. They feel like they're for us. Yeah. No, they're still not for me because I can't get a new F-Zero game to save my damn life.
That's not going to happen, man. You're not getting that. Sorry. They got Mario Kart.
Shut up.
Anyways, that's going to wrap things up for the show. This has been Game Points episode 126. As I get really high-pitched at saying that there for some reason.
Yeah.
We stream every Monday night at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time here at Twitch TV/GamePoints. And as you saw with Flykin earlier in the chat, awesome, thank you for joining, by the way. It is an audience interactive one, so feel free to drop in, give us your topics, your thoughts, your feelings, your opinions, etc. We'll try to get to you when we can. Can't always do it, though. I hope you understand that. But if you can't watch us live, you can go to our YouTube page. Just type in GamePoints one word, and we should pop right up there. If you want to follow the show on Twitter, you can do so at GamePoints PC. You can follow myself at Stephen Brown at CapitalistPig21, and you can follow David there at Palshaf_Satori. Until next week, this has been GamePoints, and we're out of here.